Welcome back, Periodic Conversation listeners. So we have Michelle Gallant-Richards here with us again, and we're just going to continue on from our last part one of this podcast. So we were discussing about dreams, and we were discussing your mom's dream that she had, and how with the news, that's what we were talking about, and how when there's 10 different people that watch the news, even if you're all from Canada, everybody has a different perspective of the way that they look at the news.
Yeah, the emotions are different, right?
Yes.
Or maybe the emotions are similar, like there might be two or three people who feel anger, but we express it differently and we have different feelings. So might be frustration, might be irritation. It can come out in a different way. Just like fear. We might have two or three people who have fear, but one it's worry, another one it's anxiety, another one it's irritation, or it's it just comes up in a different way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's understandable. We all have our own traumas and things that we've gone through in our past. So
Yeah.
having that sit within ourselves, we'll all react differently to different sorts of things that come up to us in the future.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we all have our own beliefs.
Yeah.
Somebody might believe I need to go save the world. If I don't talk about what's happening, then it's not, it's going to stay the way it is. Another one may have the belief, well, what's the point of talking about it?
Mm,
One belief is not better than another. And that's what's interesting about humanities, because we're so strong in our beliefs.
mm,
Oftentimes we come across as though other people need to believe what I believe because it is the belief that will make a difference. But oftentimes it doesn't really make that big difference anyway. It is what's inside of me. So, again, coming back to the question of what is emotional fitness, personally, I need peace in my life.
mm,
If I'm going to be talking about wars and start judging and criticizing whoever that is who's in charge of that war at that moment in time, whether it is, Putin or I'm not going to name them, but whoever is in charge of whatever's happening, if I'm focused on that, I know that Michelle will not have peace if
mhm.
I go there. So personally, I just don't go there.
Personally, I just don't watch the news, to be honest.
Yes.
I have a general idea of what's going on just because of TikTok and social media, but it gives me so much anxiety. Like, for example, when COVID hit, I remember I couldn't breathe and I was like, why can't I breathe? Like I kept on waking up
Hmm.
and um and at the time I was vaping. And so I was like, oh my God, do I have popcorn lung? Like I was like, I'm dying. Like I had, and I went into the hospital and I was so scared. And the doctor came over to me and she's like, Sarah, you're just having an anxiety attack and you've been having it for the past few days. Here's some Ativan and just calm me right down.
Yeah.
And then I realized I was like, she told me, she's like, don't watch the news. She's like,
Yeah.
it doesn't agree with you.
Yeah.
Don't do it. And that's something that I've learned from that. And that was right when COVID hit. Yeah.
Because our breath changes. So we don't even, as a society, and as a teacher, it's like I would teach my children as much as I knew at the time. But if I was to go back into teaching, I would teach them so much more. We don't teach our children that we are physical beings. It's almost as though we're just mental. Like, and I'm not saying it in a, but we're all just, it's all here. It's the mind.
Yeah.
Do this, do that, learn this, learn that, memorize, have a test. Everything is mental, 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 mental all the time. It's the mind. And the
Mhm.
mind, of course, has emotions. Even emotions, we struggle understanding how to deal with students who are angry or who are super sad. So
Mhm.
it's like this constant, thing, but the breath is where everything shifts and we can recognize what's going on.
Mhm.
If I'm feeling anxiety or pressure, I'm breathing from the upper part of my lungs.
Mhm.
Yet I need to breathe through the whole lung or lungs. And if I want to calm what's happening here, I need to really connect with the lower part of my lungs and take that big, deep breath, giving space to, like, breathing through the diaphragm, giving space, because there's a bundle of nerves. And when we think about it again, our nervous system starts here and it is in control of so much in our body. It can directly connects to organs, body parts, our feeling, so many things. Just in the feet, there's over 7,000 nerve endings in each feet. The
Wow.
eyes, I don't remember, my ophthalmologist had mentioned the number of nerve ending in the eyes is crazy. In I think it's every little square centimeter has like 2,500 little nerve endings in the hand.
Wow.
That's why we can feel hot, cold, etc. The nervous system, when it's in, and I know we're not talking emotional fitness right now, but the thing is that they're all connected to each other. The way we interpret life through our programming, our experiences, our beliefs, those little drawers that still have emotions stuck in them. So that's one component. The emotions, we can't run away from them. We all have, I say there's four. Some people out there believe there's five. Grief, they say grief is an emotion. To each his own. I say there's four, and it's anger, fear, sadness, and joy. And when I take a look at fight, flight, freeze, fight, anger, flight is fear, freeze is like sadness, and I call the fourth one free. When I'm happy and joyful, I'm free. And that plays within our mind. So we have the belief system, and then we have that. And then the fact that actually our nervous system, the way it functions within our body, is it either goes into sympathetic, which is fight, flight, freeze, go, 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 or parasympathetic. And we connect to parasympathetic through the breath. So when we are in anxiety, we're in a fight, flight, freeze, sympathetic nervous system, go, go, go. And the body heals when it's in parasympathetic. But we are, as a society, rarely there. People don't sit under an apple tree and contemplate life. It just doesn't happen anymore. We're on our phones, or we're on our computers, or we're in this go, 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 and we breathe from up here.
We do.
And then all of a sudden, when we start realizing, whoa, 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 I'm a physical being as much as I am emotional and as much as I am mental, or spiritual or social, or there's quite a few components there that we can go get from. But if I just stay with three, mental, emotional, and physical, mental, emotional, and physical, I just stay there, that they are constantly working either together, or it's not, one is not serving the other. Yeah.
Some very great tidbits there. Yeah. Yeah. So you said the fight was anger, flight was
Flight is running, right? So it's fear.
fear, and then freeze is
Freeze.
sadness.
Yeah, because when we're sad, what do? We go in, we freeze, and free is joy.
It's joy. Yeah. Oh, I love that. It's a very great way to put it. And to connect it with the sympathetic nervous system, and then also the parasympathetic, which heals in the nervous system, which,
That,
yeah.
right?
Wow. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So how do you foster greater personal enlightenment for your continued inner growth and your inner peace and inner balance? Like, what are the tools that you use for that?
Yeah. So when I first started to create my personal self-care toolkit, I started, of course, like many people, with the yoga, with just laying down and doing breathing or meditation, however Each person does it. Everybody's different with that. And
Mhm.
then I learned emotional freeing technique. That was a big one for me. So I actually, and I still use it when I want to calm the emotion right away. It's not my tool to shift my mindset, but it is the tool to give a voice to my feelings and my emotions. I'm a strong believer that emotional freeing technique really is extremely efficient, because often we don't voice that anger, and we just don't give it a voice. We'll feel, actually, most times we feel bad that we're even angry.
Mhm.
What's wrong with me? Right? Very self-critical, self-judgmental. What's wrong with me? Why can't I snap out of this? And that was one of the big things I went through when I had that burnout, was that I really couldn't understand, like, what I used to say, what the hell happened to me? Why did I allow myself to get to where I am today?
Mhm.
I wasn't this person when I was a kid. This is not me. Why am I here? And
Mhm.
I was doing a lot of the things that everybody does. I was doing all of them, actually, which is projecting everybody else's fault but mine.
Mhm.
I might have had some fault that I recognize, but for the most part, I was looking outside. I was taking personally
Mhm.
versus personalizing. So taking personally is somebody says something and, oh, that's about me. Oh, that's me taking. And I still do to this day. It doesn't, that's still part of who I am, but I more aware of when I do it. And then I take my other tools, which I'm going to talk in a minute about, and I go to that to shift my mindset and
Mhm.
to bring me back that peace, that joy, that contentment. Right. And the other one is assuming.
Mhm.
Somebody says something, somebody does something, boom, I assume. And we often, as a society, believe it's a form of interpretation. It is not. It's simply an assumption. And if we look at the book, The Four Agreements, in there, he actually says it's our imagination. As soon as something is says, we go into that space in our mind and we start to imagine what the person meant, or what they were, how they said it, and what they were saying it for. But it's all imagination. There's no truth base to that. And I realized, as I was recognizing these things about myself, is that these parts of me were causing me to hold on to words and actions that were from other people, and they did not belong to me.
Yeah.
So fostering this self-care, this emotional fitness inside of me, is about understanding what I do as a human being, or what beliefs I have that are not serving me. So I discovered that releasing what does not belong to me, as soon as somebody, let's say somebody cuts me off, I'm going to go to the driving, because that's one that a lot of people get frustrated with.
Mhm.
I need to release what does not belong. If that person's texting and I feel angry, the anger is inside of me. If I'm talking about it when I get to work, if I talk about it when I get back home, I have not released the anger of when the person cut me off in the morning. So I have held that anger all day.
Yeah.
But honestly, that does not belong to me. I'm not that person. I don't know what they're texting, if they're just wasting their time, or if they're actually in an emergency. I really don't know. So
Mm.
it's not mine to hold on to. I need to
Yeah.
learn to release.
Mhm.
So when I do the tapping, it's to lower my emotion. But when I need to shift my mindset, I come to emotional fitness tools. Always. That's my only go-to. It's always the emotional, one of the tools, whichever one I need to use based on the situation that I want to resolve within my mind.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, that's wonderful. And for people to want to learn more about these emotional fitness tools, how can they get in contact with you?
Yeah, so I would say go to the website. You can read more there and it'll give an idea of sometimes there's courses that will start, but I also have some drop-ins that people can drop in once or twice. And then if they'd like to join, they can even, pay for a membership fee for 1 month and then hop in every Wednesday night with us, for example, and just be able to learn the tools, but also be able to be supported through the tools, or even learn them and support other people who want to, be able to present or so. But I'd say go to the website. It's emotionalfitnesslife.ca.
Amazing. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I'm so happy that this has worked so well for you in your life and that you've
Yes.
been able to find
Thank you.
like a clarity with it. That's wonderful. And I feel like this is a tool for many that would work very well.
Yeah, yeah. I'm willing to learn also because this is a new venture for me. I have the tools, I understand them, but how to offer them to people from all walks of life, that's kind of like where I'm trying to navigate this newness. And I'm willing to hear people's thoughts and ideas. Whichever group of people, like there's different, generational I mean, we have younger people, we have middle-aged people, we've got men, women, people from all walks of life. I'm willing to listen to see like what would serve people's needs. How can they learn this? How can we put this in people's hands so they feel they have a toolkit? What's the easiest way? And it doesn't have to be the full course. And so I'm willing to receive any suggestions and thoughts, ideas, and so on. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, it's amazing how open-minded you are, and that's definitely why you're working in emotional fitness because you allow that space to be able to sit there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here today, Michelle. I really appreciate all the tidbits that you've given to the compound community listeners. And yeah, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank
You've
you.
also given me lots of juicy tidbits, and I'm so thankful.
Thank you very much for having me. I wish we had more time and I could listen to you.
Well, maybe another day we could do it. We could do
Yeah,
another podcast. Yeah, that'd be great.
sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you so much,
Sarah.
Michelle.
Thank you.